Okay, we have, is it Liana? Yeah, if I said it right. Liana Miller from Roswell Assembly of God, Roswell, Georgia. Please help me welcome Liana.
Picture this. You're in biology taking a test that you haven't studied for all weekend because you've been at fine arts practice. You figure you paid enough attention in class to get you by, but after the third question, you realize that it's all going downhill, and fast. You take a look and you're sitting in between the two smartest kids in the class, and the teacher just left the room to go make copies. Another thing, if you don't pass the test, there's no fine arts this year. So what do? Do you fall into temptation of cheating, or do you do what is right? You see, temptation is everywhere in this world. But then again, so is God. So the question is, how do we see God through temptation that is everywhere? Real quick, let's remember what temptation is. Webster says that it is the act of enticing to do wrong by the promise of pleasure or gain. Now you see, temptation isn't tempting unless there's something in it for us. For example, lying, cheating, sexual temptation, doing the wrong things for friends, or how about when you're in the middle of doing something wrong and you think, I'll just do the right thing next time, God will forgive me. But we know that the source of all this temptation can come from none other than Satan himself, the ultimate agitator. 1 Peter 5:8 says, be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. And you see, Satan, he's just like this agitator. He could use a small little sin to create into death. Satan doesn't create the temptation, though. He just stirs desires within us. James 1:14 through 15 says, but each one is tempted when, by his own evil desire, he is dragged away and enticed. Then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Now, like I said, he just uses a small thing that we think wouldn't matter at all, but he can grow it into something so much bigger. Now, in order to resist this temptation, we need to know when we're being tempted. Now, contrary to common belief, we don't have these little tiny cartoon shoulder angels telling us right from wrong. Now, Leanna, you know that this is not the right decision to be making. No, but God does give us this thing called conviction. Anywhere from a loud, booming voice to a small, still whisper telling us right from wrong. And Matthew 26:41 says, watch and pray so you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. Now, God knows that we're humans, and we're going to mess up, we're going to fail, but he says, watch and pray. I'll take you down the right path. But sometimes we feel like this temptation, it's like smoke just smothering us, and we think, God, where are you? But 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, no temptation has seized you except what is common to man. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so you can stand up under it. God will always provide a way out of the temptation. And even though sometimes we're like, this temptation's overwhelming, God, I can't do this. He says, no, I've got a way out. And just because he'll put you under his wing doesn't mean that you're never going to be tempted again. No, he says, listen, temptation is common to man. But if you watch and pray, if you seek me, listen, I'll make sure you don't fall into the sin. Overcoming temptation shows the grace of God. We wouldn't see God unless he was personified. And what a more beautiful way to see God personified than to see him when he helps us out of our times of trouble. I heard this awesome quote. It says, when hurt and pain is stripped away, all that's left is beauty. And Isaiah 61 says, I will give you beauty for ashes. So that leads us to believe that God is saying, listen, you're going to go through times of hurt. You're going to go through times of pain. But if you do what's right, if you don't fall into temptation, I will give you beauty. So I end with this. You'll find that temptation is everywhere in this world. But all the temptation allows us to see the grace of God that is also everywhere. Thank you.